The Premier League season is back, which means only one thing. Shaun is here to battle West Ham fans about whatever he possibly can. Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are. Oh, well, it's the Premier League Roundup show back with Shaun and Josh once again. The dream team is here. The Premier League season is here. What's not to love apart from losing to Man City? But we're all going to do it. So, you know, we live and learn. Hope you're well watching. Drop a like and subscribe if you are new. Let's head straight into the chat. Who've we got? Josh, hope you are well. Terry, hope you're well as well. Just say evening to Dad. Don't say evening to me. Don't worry, I'm not here. I'm not here. There's only one place to start. Friday night feels like a long time ago, where 99% of the Premier League wanted the Palace to do it, but they couldn't. Josh, and it ended Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2. They're looking quite good, that Arsenal.
Yeah, they are. They've had a very good pre-season, haven't they? I actually thought Palace will give them a game. I thought they'd be up for the first game of the season at home against a London rival, but now Arsenal has dominated from first to last minute, really. On my fantasy football, I had Jesus captain, so that was a bit of a shocker. I had Haaland in the team, but I had him vice captain. So, yeah, I had a bit of a murder, but yeah, they did play really well, Arsenal. But I think they definitely could. I think they've definitely got a good chance of getting top 4 this season. Definitely will be tight. They've had a very good pre-season, and yeah, Martinelli scored, I think, didn't he? Yeah, I think just a really good performance from them. And I think they continue from pre-season, the good form pre-season, which unfortunately we couldn't do, but I'll come on to that later. And yeah, Palace they had a few half chances, but never really managed to get onto the ball and keep possession. Yeah, I thought they dominated really Arsenal, and I think it will be tight top 4 this season. I think I don't think United are getting it certainly, but I think it'll be out of Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea. Any of them 3 could get it. It's going to be tight, but yeah, really good way to start the season from them.
Yeah. I think we can see already one game in. To be fair, we probably knew already that there's two Champions League spaces to fill with 3 teams going for Arsenal, Chelsea, and Spurs. I think. Arsenal look good, and for once after spending another shed load of money, they actually look half decent at the start of the season. I mean, they've only spent about 400 million in the last 3 years, haven't they? It seems like their money spending seems to have started working. And see what else we've got in. Old Evertonian Grandad, hope you're well. Peter, hope you're well. Good evening, Jake, Josh, and what is his name? And everyone in the chat. It's a bit harsh. But I've got the vibe as well. I've got the vibe. It doesn't happen very often, but we've got a big Josh rant coming for when we get to the Villa game. I can feel him brewing up. I feel like he's very angry. We'll get onto that a little bit later on. Next up, Saturday, early afternoon football. Fulham 2, Liverpool 2 at Craven Cottage. I think we all smiled when we saw this, Shaun.
Well, I've been on 2 of your shows in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I told you that Fulham wouldn't be as bad as we thought. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure I covered that Mitrovic would probably score goals as well. And that's exactly what happened. I thought they were, unlike, we'll get on the lots of games, but unlike a lot of teams in the league, Fulham looked very prepared. Fulham looked very busy. They looked very sharp, very aggressive. I think we've said on a show as well that Liverpool still lack a centre midfielder. And I want to say Thiago went off injured again. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I thought Fulham bullied Liverpool in the centre of the park, and fully deserved to be they 1-1 up, 1-0, 2-1 up. Liverpool always going to come on strong, but they had to bring on Núñez, their new striker. He did okay. I think in general, the first game of the season, pundits and all these so-called experts like to go over the top a little bit, don't they? Like, think that even the Haaland hype after the game against your lot, like, well, we knew he was a quality striker. He didn't do anything against you we didn't know he could do. And Núñez, they've hyped him up because he fluffed one back heel and then he fluffed the second one and got lucky. Do you know what I mean? I think he got the goal, but it was more or less an own goal.
Yeah.
But Fulham, they're not going to be a pushover. I rate Marcus Silva as a manager. I think Klopp had his typical cry and said the pitch was a bit dry to play football.
It's an embarrassment.
Do you know what I mean? We're back, and I think he was. In all fairness, he didn't cry as much as he normally does, and he sort of accepted it a little bit. He had a little moan that it wasn't a penalty, but let's be honest, Van Dijk was turned inside out by Mitrovic, and you can see the clash of knees on the replay. It was a good first. When I say first game, I watched the Arsenal game the night before. I disagree with Josh. I don't want to go back on that, but I thought it was typical Arsenal. I thought they were brilliant for 30 minutes, but I thought the second half when Palace woke up and realised, hang on a minute, we're only playing Arsenal. So when you get at Arsenal, I thought Palace are probably the better team in the second half, personally. And I thought a fluky own goal killed it to death.
It was that Edouard header as well. He should have put that away, and that would have made it 1-1 at the time.
I think with Arsenal, their football's going to get better and better, but they've still got that soft underbelly. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They still got Xhaka in the midfield getting booked every week. So, but yeah, back to my game. Yeah, I don't think Fulham. I think on your last year, I predicted they'd be third bottom, didn't I? But if they go down, they will not go down with a whimper. I don't think that was a cup final performance in their first game back. I think they're going to be. They got some good players, and they're going to have a go. They're not going to sit back and just park the bus like they did. They will have a go, and they'll be bottom six. But I give them third bottom to go down. If they're sixth bottom, and someone like a Southampton, or I don't know, someone else like that go down, that wouldn't shock me.
They've certainly put a statement out against one of the best in the league, that's for sure. Let's move on to talk about another newly promoted club, Josh, and Newcastle 2, Nottingham Forest 0. The big reunion of Nottingham Forest and the Premier League, and didn't quite go to plan, and hopefully it won't go to plan for them next week. But anyway, Josh, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I obviously didn't see this because I was watching Villa, but I did see the highlights. I thought. I didn't see Nottingham Forest have a shot, to be fair. I know it's the first game and they were obviously going to be playing conservative, but I think, they definitely, Newcastle, was it Shea? They scored, didn't he? Scored one from about
good goal, I think.
Minute, It was from outside the box, just whacked it and it went in. It was a good performance back from the I actually think they'll come top 8 this season. I think they've got a chance of coming 8th or 7th maybe. I think they've spent Nick Pope, I thought that was a really good signing from Burnley, and I think he's a Botman, is it, from Lille, a good young centre back. I think a lot of big teams are after him, so he's a good signing too, and I don't think they're done yet. I know they're trying to get James Maddison from Leicester, so I think they will do well this season. Newcastle. Eddie Howe has also just signed an extension, hasn't he? A long-term extension, I think I saw that. But that's the type of performance you want in the first day back. I think everyone expected them to win anyway, but it was a good performance, got the job done, and I do think they'll do well this season. As for Forest, they have spent well. I think they will stay up. They've signed about 10 players, fair play to them. They need to spend money, but they can't go to the Premier League with Championship squad. They have spent money well. Dean Henderson is a really good signing. I'm not sure if you saw the interview he come out and did with Talk Sport last week, basically slamming United for not picking him because apparently they promised he was going to be number 1 last season, and he come back from COVID and they just forgot about him. Something ridiculous like that. It just shows what's going on at United, really. But anyway, Forest, they have spent money, but I think they'll be okay. Should have the first home game next week. I don't know who they're playing, but I think they'll be alright. Who's got?
Us.
Well, I think
relegation 6-pointer already.
Oh, shut up, Shaun.
They'll definitely be up for it. I think in front of the home crowd, first game back in the Prem, I think they'll definitely be up for it. But I think they'll be all right. They've spent really well. But good win for Newcastle.
There we go. Next up, a slight wobble at the start at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but once we got the atmosphere going there, it was all fine. Spurs 4, Southampton 1. Easy sailing in the end, Shaun?
Yeah, we look very strong, not going to lie. We look, and I said a minute ago about some teams, I think they said a lot of managers have come out and said we need a good start, World Cup, blah, blah, blah. Only a short pre-season just gone. Some teams don't look quite ready. Tottenham, obviously, I've said before, been beasted in pre-season by Conte. I know that Ward-Prowse had a nice finish at the beginning. but they outworked them, they outrun them, they outmuscled them, outskilled them. It was very, very assured performance, to be honest. I think if it had been 6 or 7, it wouldn't have been. They wouldn't have been undeserved. Tottenham do look strong. They look very fit. I think we've made 5 signings so far. None of them started. So the 11 that started were the 11 that got us 10 wins out of 14 to get Champions League, more or less. The 11 that started would have been the fittest 11 who had the most uninterrupted pre-season, be it COVID, injuries, signing late, blah, blah, blah. So Conte's not messing about. He wants his, I could call it, his machines out there, really. Do you know what I mean? And it did look very strong. It's going to be, I think Conte said himself, it's very hard to try and catch, even including Chelsea. But if you look at the top 2 sides, our managers have been there 6 and 7 years now. So they've built these squads. The players know when they come in how Klopp and Pep play. Conte's been there 8 months. Do you know what I mean? But just in the last 6 weeks of the pre-season and the last season, they look very fit, very strong. The nature of the season this year, I think you had a little bit of Man City yesterday. They had like 4 subs all come on at the same time. So it's going to take some getting used to. It's a bit strange. The squad's strong. So you had 4 that come on. It was Bissouma, Perisic, he come on. Longley come on at left defence. So we're talking about experienced international Premier experienced players, top quality. Richarlison was suspended, so he didn't even make the squad. So yes, no, obviously don't get carried away. It's one game, and we know we've got Chelsea away on Sunday tea time next week. So they beat us 4 times last year. So yeah, it's not like a judge of how far Tottenham have come next week. It's still too early in the season, but you wouldn't want to lose. You know what I mean? Because it just damages momentum a little bit. But yeah, they did look very strong. A few players were outstanding, like Emerson Royale. You think he did one of the weaker links? We've got 2 more. You think there's 2 wing backs ahead of him in the pecking order, but he's where he lacks in quality in some areas. He's got an engine, and he got 2 assists from the wing back role. So he's got, and that's sometimes if a player just tries as hard as he's got an engine, he's not a complete nightmare. Then sometimes they're worth their weight in gold. He might still go, but when you try, if you're a trier at the end of the day, at any level of football, you can go a long way. Final thing I'll say on it, obviously with Son and Kane, neither of them notched. They had 2 or 3 chances each. Obviously they're world class. Their time had come, but Kulusevski's just carried on in the first game. How he ended the season, he ran the game. He ran the game left-footed, coming off the right. Very much reminded me. It had a bit of De Bruyne about him, how he was playing. Just like he's got the power to drive. He's not lightning quick, but he's got that power to glide by players. Little flicks, little layoffs, perfect finishing in the bottom corner, spraying the ball. He was quality, obviously, January signing, but how he's looked already after that pre-season with Conte, he could be very, very special.
Yeah, and of course Jamie O'Hara's been up to his normal antics as well today on TalkSport. Shaun's Josh is smiling. I've just read it there. I mean, it's just Jamie O'Hara, isn't it? You know,
but he's just disagreeing with the other clown, like Bonner, wasn't he?
Yeah,
because you know,
bunch of clowns together, isn't it?
Thing is, with TalkSport, you've got to pick out what you're going to take serious on there, really, because. When there's 2 or 3 of them on there, if they all agree, it's a rubbish show, isn't it? Let's be honest.
True.
But yeah, he just said that they're bang there in the title race, and I think a lot of people have said that. I think even like Gary Neville, he's won. I think a lot of people have said, like so-called experts and ex-pros, if anyone's going to maybe hang on to the coattails of Liverpool City, it will be Tottenham. And to be honest,
it might be, but you're not going to get close to City, I don't think.
No, maybe not. But like I said, Pep's been there 6 years. Conte's been there 8 months. So if they can get, my target with Tottenham is 8. They got 71 last season. My target, it's always got to be progress as far as I'm concerned. If you're progressing, my target would be 80 points and a few good cup runs and a good little bit of fun in the Champions League. That'd be a good season. So we'll see how we go. It's not. The Chelsea game's not the be-all and end-all. We could go there and beat them. They could beat us. It could be 2-2. Nothing's going to be decided on that game, second game of the season. It's just progressing through the season. And first up, they did. I don't care who the opposition was. They just looked very, very fit and very strong and powerful.
Okie dokie. Moving on then. I can feel, I can see Josh's blood boiling at this as it scrolls across the bottom of the screen. Bournemouth 2, Aston Villa 0. The stage is yours, Josh.
Yeah, it was just this time last year we had Watford away first game, and they were newly promoted at the time. We think we learned our lesson. We got beat 3-2. We were 3-0 down with 10 minutes to go. One of them was a penalty we scored. Yeah, we were never in the game. You think we've learned our lesson, but no, lose again. It was just so we conceded first 2 minutes or something ridiculous like that. Couldn't defend the corner. It was just there was no game plan. It was like we were just their defence is absolutely massive, like literally about 7 foot, and the two in the midfield, Billing and Lerner, both about 6'5". We're just lumping it up every time to like Coutinho or Ings against their like massive centre half. The only way we were going to score is if you got to try and like play through them, get the ball on the floor, like try. We've got players like Coutinho and players like that who can create. Try and like play through them. But no, just every time, just get it lumped it up, and they were loving that because they can just. Once it got to the second half, once they were one in front, they basically just said, "Try and break us down," and we just kept lumping it up, and they were just winning every header, clearing it away, and that's fine for them because with the size of them, like that's just easy for them. It's just and the subs as well. It just looked desperate. Once the second goal come on, he just flew on Cameron Archer. Can't remember who was another one of the attackers. It's just looked clueless. And I think if we don't beat Everton at the weekend at home, we do have a good record against them. I think the fans will start to turn because he's been backed by the owners. He's had the money. Like Diego Carlos meant to be a hard as nails centre back. Thought he was awful on Saturday. Just it was just everyone apart from Kamara, the one we signed in midfield. I thought they all were. And Tyrone Mings has been stripped of the captaincy. John McGinn, that means he's undroppable now. It's like I don't think he's ever been the same player since he had the injury the other year. He's a good player, but I think it can be frustrating sometimes. He kept giving the ball away on Saturday. He did it towards the end of last season as well. It's just as soon as you give somebody the armband, they're undroppable. And I think we've got that many options in the midfield. We need to change it, but we can't now because he's the captain. And I think he got benched. I would have probably played him. If he'd been stripped of the captaincy, he probably would have had a point to prove. So he might have played well, but he gets left on the bench. As I say, I thought the two centre backs were poor, Diego Carlos and Conte. Can't defend set pieces. Yeah, and Coutinho was absolutely dreadful as well. Last season he was like the best player, but he was just giving the ball away, doing all these little stupid flicks and tricks. Just awful. Honestly, shocking.
Was Ollie Watkins on the bench as well, Nick?
Ollie Watkins on the bench, yeah. He played Danny Ings. He brought him on about 20 minutes ago. Didn't do anything really. Leon Bailey played. He's had a very good pre-season. Didn't do too much either. He was having a go, but no.
Josh, it sounds like to me you've got a manager who's a player was probably known as one of the best leaders in Premier League history. Would you agree, Jake? One of the top couple?
Yeah, you'd say so.
And would you say so? He dragged that Liverpool team through a lot, didn't he? Let's be honest, as a captain. But it sounds like to me he's now managing a team where he's got no leaders on the field. Is that fair?
Yeah, and also Coutinho, he should have took him off at half time. If that was any other player who had the first half that bad, would have been straight off half time. Because he's like his best mate, do you know what I mean? He doesn't take him off till about 10 minutes to go. When Buendia should have come on ages before Coutinho went off. It's just I don't. That's the problem when he brings in players who can play with Liverpool. Just because he's a mate, doesn't want to upset them either, and like that can cause a bit of unrest in the dressing room for other players maybe. And there's just players like Nakambe, the midfielder, Bertrand Traore. You can't even Morgan Sanson, we signed him from Marseille. Not last January before. It's about 15 million. they can't even get in. What is it? It's like 20 players in the squad now, 9 subs. They can't even get on a 9-man bench. So I don't get how they're ever going to play in the future. And
I'll tell you what, Josh.
If they can't get in now, then when are they going to get in? That's what I'm thinking. But we definitely need more signings. Need another midfielder for competition. Ideally, probably a forward as well. It's just shambles, really.
I tell you what, it sounds like an absolute crisis at Villa Park, and I can't wait to come up there at the end of the month, Josh. I expect to see you there.
Hopefully I should be. Not sure yet.
Moving on then. Moving on, and come on then, talk about your Leeds, mate, Shaun.
I think I've heard all about it. I woke up early Sunday morning, watched the highlights, did a little bit of research on them so I could banter back with my mate. From what it was a very, very even game, this one, really. Wolves are a strange side, a bit like Villa. I did a bit of a detour to the England squad. Gareth Southgate is still picking the last squad. Mings and Connor Cody. Okay, they're both in the squad. He's still banging the drum with them. Both have been stripped of the captaincies. Both have been dropped. I think Cody's about to join Everton any day. So that's two, what Gareth Southgate classes as backup centre-backs, both not seen as not good enough for their Premier League. Not even just to have a captaincy stripped is quite insulting as a player, really.
Yeah.
And I don't see any other way around it. So they've both been stripped and Cody's leaving. So let's see what Southgate does with them, for starters. This is Wolves. One of the reasons Cody's been dropped is because I think it's a known fact he's only any good in a back three. So is it Bruno Lar, their manager, or something like that? Their manager? Yeah, he's decided right back four this year, because last year they created about 2 chances a game playing a back five. So he's gone back four. Cody's out. Yeah, it was a very even game. I think Leeds do their normal thing. They run at 100 mile an hour. I think they're going to get bookings for fun. That Aronson they've got looks quite a tidy player. At the end of the day, I think the goalkeeper was almost on Leeds' side. He out fault for the first goal. He almost dribbled the ball over his own goal line at one point. I don't know if you've seen that or not. Back pass went back to him. His first touch took him backwards. I was like, where are you? Do you know what I mean? Keeper was lucky not to concede a penalty. He sort of come out to punch it. He come a mile out of the goal. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
He took the player out that one.
Yeah, obviously I can't keep up with the law changes and that. But he come a mile out. I don't even know why he thought he was coming. Missed the ball, elbowed the player.
Yeah.
And then the winner, it was an own goal, but I think the Leeds player Aronson might have got. I'm sure he gave it as an own goal in the end. But
he did.
Aronson, I think he might have tapped it in, or he'd done well to miss it. But yeah, they're two teams you probably put around the same level. I think Jimenez is out again, injured, and for a little while. So all they've got up front is it Hwang? Is he Korean? Yeah. The Korean striker. They bought him. He was on loan last year. So again, he's gone to the back four, but who's getting the goals? Do you know what I mean?
It looks Wolves is difficult because it's another side that blow hot and cold, because they can go and demolish a side, but then you just look at it some weeks and think, where's the creativity and just where is it coming from?
I don't know if you remember last year, Joe. I sort of said, and you all agreed with me, Wolves, they're like one of the forgettable teams in the middle of the league. Do you know what I mean? You can have mid-table sides. Well, what helps with some of the teams, like Villa, everyone's got like a little interest because Gerrard's there. So you sort of remember them because of things like that. Brentford, people like plucky Brentford because they're a new little club. So you sort of remember them for that. There's all these little bits and bobs and reasons why we remember some of these clubs in the back of our mind. But Wolves, you're like, do you know what I mean? There's not a lot that as a neutral, I mean, do you know what I mean? Obviously, the fans worship them, but as a neutral, it's like it's not put it this way. If West Ham had them in 2 weeks' time, it's not a game where you think, "Oh, I'm looking forward to that one." Do you know what I mean? They're two clubs, contrasting styles. I think Wolves were a little bit unlucky to lose it, but yeah, let's see how we go.
Yeah, let's just take some comments. A second, I'm going to scroll up. Coutinho to have 5 great games a season. Yes, it's the big name, but not really performing at Villa. There's a crisis at Villa Park. Josh is not happy. He's seething. Peter says, hope everyone is looking forward to signing Ross Barkley real soon. Yeah, Mr. Sick Note. Oh dear. Yeah, we are going to have 4 goalies on the bench versus Forest. We'll get onto that in a minute. It is absolute chaos. Right, moving on. Let's talk about the Frank Lampard derby, shall we? Then Everton 0, Chelsea 1. It's what it is, Josh, isn't it? Not really too exciting.
Yeah, Chelsea didn't play great. I thought Everton gave them a game. To be fair, they had the chances. It was just they got unlucky again with injuries. Ben Godfrey, that looks a bad one.
Yeah, that looks really bad.
Yeah, done something to his ankle. And Yerry Mina, he is always injured. He literally comes back for one game and gets injured again. Yeah, he had to go off. I think Everton now apparently Connor Cody is having a medical soon for them. I don't know, that's what I've heard. So that should be a good signing for them to replace them to centre back. But yeah, I thought neither teams played great, but I thought Everton gave them a decent enough game. They had chances. That one from the corner where Mendy was in no man's land and they had a free shot and Chelsea blocked them all. That one, I don't know how that never went in. They did have chances, Everton, to be fair. And the penalty, yeah, no question about it. It was a penalty, and Jorginho was never going to miss, really. And yeah, it was just one of them games. I don't think either side were at the best, but Chelsea, they got the job done. Everton were unlucky with injuries. The game got stopped as well twice. Once in the first half because of Godfrey's injury, and then there was a medical issue in the stands, I think, as well, in the second half. So yeah, but I think Everton will be alright. They've made a few decent signings. I think that Onan is close, who they stole off you. I think he's very close to signing now. I know they're close to signing Melissa Gay, Connor Cody, and they've already brought in Dwight McNeil, Tarkowski. I think they should be alright. I think they'll be bottom 6 or 7, but I don't think they'll go down. Yeah, I think Chelsea just about deserved it. And also 60 million for that Cucurella. I think that's a bit much, isn't it? I know he's a good player, but I think it's a little bit much, but the market is now. But yeah, I think Chelsea just about deserved it.
A little bit much. I think that is fair. Moving on to the second Desmond of the weekend. Leicester 2, Brentford 2. I'm going to use your phrase, Shaun. Probably the most forgettable match of the weekend. It's just Leicester Brentford, isn't it? Like nobody really cares.
Firstly, why did they kick off at that time? Why kick off? It wasn't on the television, was it? Was it
2 o'clock? It's just to annoy fans and not have it on Saturday.
I don't get it. I don't get it. First game of the season, like no one's in Europe. They don't need to play Sunday. It's Leicester, so
it's just stupid.
I don't know. I don't understand that one. And there's usually a reason behind kickoff times like that, and I couldn't work that one out yet. Well, obviously, Leicester 2-0 up. Is it 2-0? 2-0 back to 2-0. I'm sure it was. Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. I've only loosely followed it because I had the United game on.
As we all did.
Yeah, did Brentford score a late winner disallowed as well, or something like that? I'm sure I've seen the goal flash up, and then it was changed.
Shall I have a look, Shaun, just for you? I'll have a look what happened.
Sure, I watched the highlights before. I don't think they did.
No.
So let's have a look. Sunday, Premier League, Leicester Brentford. Early goal for Leicester. Early goal for Leicester, and then Dewsbury Hall score for Leicester again. 86th minute equaliser from Josh De Silva for Brentford.
Yeah, well, you'd have to say it goes down as a good point for Brentford, wouldn't you? Because in the Premier League, if you're 2-0 down away from home, you're usually dead and buried, aren't you? But they'd have to be, I don't know, Brentford Clive is there. He'd be coming away from there quite happy. I think a lot of people are almost seeing as Leicester having a pretty poor season. So, yeah, I would imagine this. Well, I know some people have got Brentford a little bit lower, having second season syndrome. But yeah, like you said, it's probably a game. It's not. If it was on a Saturday afternoon, it might go down to one of the better 3 o'clock kickoffs on the Saturday. But chucking it in on a Sunday at 2 o'clock when United are playing you're building up the West Ham Man City. It's the harsh reality is it'd be thrown as the forgettable game, wouldn't it? Like,
Yeah.
You might as well have it on now. Have it on kicking off a minute ago.
Yeah,
It makes no sense, but what does nowadays?
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. Simon, good morning. I'm either early or late. Yeah, late. We always are, Simon. Now, I hope you're well. It's back. I've missed the Premier League. Yeah, I had until about 4:30 yesterday afternoon. But hey ho. Right, let's brighten the mood before we talk about that rubbish from yesterday. Manchester United 1, Brighton 2. And really, it should read Manchester United 1, Brighton 3 after the shocking penalty decision. Josh, it's just brilliant, isn't it? Same team, different manager, same result.
Yeah, it's United, innit? I think Brighton, they deserved it as well, Brighton. I know West Ham, United, they definitely played better second half. It must have got into them a bit at half time. But it's just, when you're still playing like Maguire, Dalot, players like that, it's
dead wood, isn't it?
Yeah, I did think they were going to get it back to 2-2 though, because it was a bit of a shocking performance from the keeper second half as well. He looked like he was getting a bit nervous after he cocked up for the first one. But yeah, it's just, I think Pascal Gross got 2 again, didn't he? I think, did he score against them last season? I can't remember.
Yeah, he did. Oh, season before, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it's United, and I thought they had a good pre-season as well, didn't they? But it just shows you Villa went unbeaten in pre-season as well. Pre-season, just it doesn't matter because it's all once you get to the league game, it's just completely different. We played them pre-season actually. United, we drew 2-2. First half they blew us away, but then second half we managed to get it back to 2-2, and they were awful. But I thought Rashford and Sancho in pre-season, they looked like they were looking good, but didn't really do too much yesterday either. So it's shambles of that club from top to bottom, isn't it? I think they got Lisandro Martinez, is that his name, the centre back?
Yeah.
5'9" centre back. Like it's all right, but as a centre back, you've got to be like.
He didn't look great. Let's be honest today.
No, they can't have the odd ball playing centre back nowadays. But I think I prefer my centre backs to be like, tall, strong. Do you know what I mean? Proper, just no nonsense.
Craig Dawson, that's who you want.
Yeah, just proper no nonsense centre backs. But again, I think they've been rejected by a lot of players this summer. All the signings haven't been too great. They've got Eriksen, who's good, but again, it's just a free transfer. It's not going to take him to the title, is it? And who else got? Just a backup left back, is it, from the Dutch league or something like that? I don't know.
Malacia, I think his name is that him?
Something like that. So, the De Jong saga from Barcelona has been going on for about 4 months. I have no idea what's going on with that. I think the club's had the fee agreed, but the player doesn't want to come, which I don't blame him for. I think I'd rather see Barcelona than come to Manchester, and it's also Barcelona to Man United as well. But I think the business that they've done hasn't been great. Brighton, fair play. They've lost the 2 best players, haven't they? Basuma and Cucurella, and they come to Old Trafford on the first day and get a win. Fair play to them, but it doesn't seem great at United. I think the Ronaldo saga doesn't whether he will end up going or not, I'm not sure. I think he has no loyalty to any of his clubs, really. Ronaldo does. He have heard Atletico Madrid. He wanted to go, but the fans wouldn't have it. Like he was at Real Madrid for 10 years, and apparently he could have gone to Chelsea as well. Just
that picture of like Ten Hag looking despondent and him just putting that face. It just spoke 1,000 words. In that, as I said before you started talking, Josh, I think overall with Man United is a different manager, but it's the same players coming out with the same results at the end of the day. Fair play to Brighton. They beat Man United at the back end of last season, and they got up to Old Trafford and they've beaten them again. It was a bit squeaky bum time towards the end, I thought, but they got it done, and Man United yet again the laughing stock of the Premier League. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Simon, New changes for me as a married man. Oh, you're in the doghouse. In the doghouse. Hope you well, Simon. Aiming to get West Ham tickets. You're only there for the West Ham. Off to see Chelsea Tottenham on Sunday. Well, good luck for that. Just just beat them, will you, please? I don't really ever want Chelsea to win anything or any game, but just beat Spurs, just so I can laugh at Shaun next week when we batter Forest and batter Jesse Lingard. Get rid of Sir Alex Ferguson. I think he's holding back the club. Yeah, it is funny, very, very funny. Right then, let's move on to this then, shall we? West Ham United 0, Manchester City 2. I'll start, and then I'll hand over to Shaun to give his thoughts. That was crap, wasn't it? Let's be honest. They're just, first 2 minutes, I thought we came out, we looked good. Probably should have done better with that header, should have gone on target, but until our little 5-minute spell in the second half, that was it, really. I think we put together 75 passes in that first half. It was very much a pre-season game for both sides, and the fact is that Man City didn't really look like they were putting in much effort, and neither did we, to be honest. It was just a lack of intensity, creativity, anything that you need to do to win a football match. And 2 pieces of brilliance from Erling Haaland won the game, really. Man City could have turned it up a bit more, but they obviously didn't feel like it, which I think we're all pretty relieved about. I do think Haaland will score in the region of 30 goals this year. He scored 2 already, of course. I think he will get to those numbers this year with what's around him. He will get 3 or 4 chances every game, and 9 times out of 10, I think he's going to bury one of them if he gets those chances. Acceleration is ridiculous, especially for that second goal. Johnson was out of position, but even if he was in position, if he doesn't get the interception for that through ball, no one's catching him, and he's never going to miss, is he, Haaland? So I think they are going to be a force this season. I'd say they didn't really get out of second or third gear, and they just strolled on through. It's looking worrying, to be honest. We've now sold Issa Diop pretty much all said and done. We didn't know where he was. We're now hearing that he's forced to move out of the club. He's refused to play, so he's off to Fulham. We've got 1 fit centre back at our football club out of the 5 we've currently got. Obviously, we still have Diop, Dawson, Ogbonna, Aguerd. They're all injured, which leaves Zuma, and which does bode the question why we sold Elise in the summer, because I don't know whether David Moyes would have started Johnson yesterday. He probably would have done if he had a player like Elise, who's a proven centre-back, not Premier League proven, but he is a centre-back, and Johnson isn't a centre-back. Although I didn't think Johnson did too bad yesterday. I think he was okay. He was chucked in the deep end against Man City, and I didn't think he did too bad of a job. Changes need to be made from the midfield up next week, though. A lot of fans have called for Souček to be dropped. I do agree. Put Flynn Downs in there next week. Let's see what this lad can do. West Ham lad. We know he's going to leave everything out there. Let's see what he can do. Scamacca and Cornet must start next week, in my opinion. I would start Scamacca from what I've seen. He didn't rip up any trees, but he looks like a proper striker, which we just haven't got. And Cornet, we need pace, creativity after watching that performance, and I think that's what he'll bring to the team. But apart from that, yeah, it's Man City. Just got to move on. To be honest, it's going to be a free hit for most sides again this season. So we dust ourselves off, and our season starts next Sunday. Before I come to you, Shaun, let me take some of your comments. Let's scroll down. Simon says, as much as I'm gutted for you guys, Haaland did me a favour in the fantasy football. Yeah, see, all of you lot come at your fantasy football. I don't do it. It's just rubbish. It just annoys me, and I never do it. Yeah. Anyway, West Ham have a bad season. Yeah, well, I could say the same about Liverpool. If we're talking about the first game. Let's have a look here. Freshfielder said Scamacca was different gravy to what we had when he came on. Yeah, he looked good. I didn't say he ripped up trees, but he was putting a foot in. You could tell he was a proper striker. I think that's all I'm going to say. Josh says Haaland couldn't finish his dinner after the Community Shield, but he certainly could yesterday, that's for sure. But yeah, overall, on a whole, not going to really dwell on it too much. We need to sign players, and we've made it clear that we need to sign players before Nottingham Forest next week, because I'd ideally like us to start 2 centre-backs and have have a full bench if that's possible, West Ham. But yeah, Shaun, anything else to add?
Yeah, I've been around the circles a bit with this game with you because I watched it, took it all in. I've listened to some of your fans' comments and all that. It was a strange game to watch the neutral. Very, very strange. Obviously, I can remember the game from last season. Was it 2-2? Was it 2-2?
Yeah.
They beat you at the end. I can't remember what.
2-2,
But
yeah.
that was high octane, especially the second half. This game, I think you covered it really. Man City, that's the slowest I've seen them pass the ball around in a very, very long time. Like you said, second and third gear. I don't know if they got out of first gear. And I said about teams not being ready, for one reason, the other West Ham just weren't. Whether it's too many players missing, signings not ready to come on and start and take part. I think it was on about an hour mark. I was watching it. I think they must have been 1-0 up at the time. And Man City had the ball on the halfway line. The player sort of had his foot on it. And I reckon he had his foot on it for about 5-6 seconds. I thought, I'll just pass it back. But there was no pressure at all. And it almost felt like West Ham are waving the white flag here on an hour at 1-0 down. It just looked like Man City weren't playing any scary football because West Ham just didn't have any go in them to get up the field and pressure. And it was unusual to see, really, because you're not really used to that from a Moyes team. I don't know if it might be partly Moyes' fault. I don't know. But, yeah, it was a strange old game. Like, you had a couple of moments in the first 10 minutes, which is obviously coming from a cross or a corner. Do you know what I mean? That's going to be your main threat against the better side, probably.
Well, that's where most goals come from, Shaun, across the corner.
Yeah, but you, as fans, you probably want a bit more than that, though, don't you? Really. But Man City only had 2 shots on target the whole game. You know, and I'm assuming they count the penalty as one of them. So that's the 2 goals. Haaland, obviously, ruthless with his finish, but he is world class forward. Like, he's one of the very best, but he is very one-footed as well. He very one-footed, and also he had the least amount of touches on the ball in the whole Man City team, including the goalie.
But that doesn't matter if he scores 2 goals.
No, it doesn't. But he's brilliant. I think after doing what he did against you, let's not hype it after one game. But what I was just thinking then, though, when you said about Johnson, who's makeshift sort of centre back, surely looking back, there must have been a case to play a back 3. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just tuck Cresswell left centre back and put anyone left wing back. Do you know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, at times I did think we did slot into a kind of a back 3 because Cresswell did come in centrally at times, whereas when we went up the pitch a bit more, we did push out a bit more. But at times it did look like we were playing a back 3. I don't know whether that was Moyes saying when we're defending, just push back, and then Fornals will push back a bit more. I was surprised that he didn't go for a back 5. If I'm honest, with the situation we're in. If
you're missing, would you say 4 centre backs? Did you say?
Yeah.
And you've got to play a kid who's, 20, 21, I'm guessing roughly
22,
that, is it?
21, 22.
Right, okay, so how many times do you play centre-back for you? In a back 4, how many times?
Well, I can't remember one.
So you can't remember. So now you're playing him almost man-marking, arguably one of the top 3 centre-forwards in world football. Near enough one-on-one, because let's be honest, if you're Haaland and you see you've got a kid play centre back for the first time in his life in a partnership, you're going to hang on his shoulder, aren't you? You're going to go where he goes. Zuma probably would have got bullied as well, but you're going to go after the one who's not used to it. And if the ball, it's a brilliant ball that went through, but if you're playing a back 3, that space might not be there.
That's a good point.
I don't know. It's a game where if I was a West Ham fan, I'd be a little bit frustrated because I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, it's Man City, it was a free hit." Yeah, it was a free hit, and they didn't even need to try to win, really.
But the big question is, we've got a big injury crisis. Gerrard's got a big crisis at Villa. Who's going to win, Josh? 19 days. 19 days, I think, 20 days, something like that. crisis at Villa Park, 4-1. It's going to happen again, 4-1, Josh.
You got Tottenham 3 days later, Jake.
True. True. Josh, is there anything you'd like to add on that?
What, from the West Ham City game?
Yeah, West Ham City, yeah.
Yeah. I thought Haaland is just different class, and his finishing is just, once he goes through, I think he's better through one-on-one with a keeper. He's never going to miss. I think the chances he got in the Charity Shield were where it's coming to him quickly. He still should have buried it, don't get me wrong, but I think, natural finish, is that when you're one-on-one with the keeper, finish, and that's what he does. I thought West Ham, you didn't give him a bad game second half, to be fair. You had that Skamaki does look all right, to be fair. The one you signed for big money. Was Corney not involved?
No, he was a couple of hours away from being registered, so.
So he should be in there for next week then. So yeah, for as you said, Man City is just free hit, really, isn't it? Yeah, not many teams beat them. Did you beat them last season? Did you? I know you drew 2-2.
Yeah. We lost to them at their place. We drew to them at home, and then we beat them in the Carabao Cup. So I think we were all surprised in the manner of defeat after our 3 performances against them last year. But what I did say to you a few days ago, Shaun, was I'd be surprised if Cornet gets involved in the first month. I'll be surprised if Cornet is not involved next week. But we're going to leave it there. 45 minutes will do. I'm going to let you two lovely people go. Thank you everybody for watching. Thanks everybody in the chat. Let's go to our final comments before we go. We did actually miss Masuaku yesterday. We did, because we could have put him either left wing back or a bit up the pitch a bit more, a bit of pace. That's what we needed. Freshfielder says it was insanely hot yesterday. It had an effect. The only team you wouldn't want to play in that heat is City, because of their passing and just the way they do it. It didn't really look like they break a sweat, and that's probably the only team that can do that in the Premier League. A draw is better than a defeat, yeah, but we played Man City. You played Fulham. Let's scroll down. Can we move on from West Ham, please? Sorry, Peter. I know it's difficult, but when we thrash Forest next week, we're going to talk about it all night. Peter says Moy says Cornet will get a debut in November, as he isn't ready. I tell you what, he better play next week. What's up with Ballon Dawson? I think it was a thigh injury, and we all know if he's out, there's an issue there, because we know he played through injury last year. So if there would have been any hope of him playing, he would have played yesterday. So it is what it is. But there we go. Premier League show for game week 1 out of the 38 done. Tottenham and Arsenal sit top of the Premier League, along with Manchester City. And I can't remember the top. And I can't remember the rest on top of my head. It's gonna switch next week, Josh. We're gonna be at the top. But thank you very much, Josh and Shaun. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.
Cheers, buddy. See you, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching in the chat. And I will catch you very, very soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.